Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Hunter and I am the Field CTO at NinjaOne. Welcome to Ninja 101, where today we're discussing how to deploy AutoCAD using the NinjaOne platform. We're going to start in Autodesk. I'm going to Products and Services, then to Custom Install, and then I'm selecting AutoCAD as my product. Now, after this, on the right, there's going to be some AutoCAD specific settings. I am just using the defaults. I'll click Next here, and this is where we name the package. I'm just calling it AutoCAD Deployment. And then a very important step here, switch the method from install to deploy. Enter a deployment image path, which is where the files will be downloaded so that we can then install AutoCAD. And then let's hit save and then download. This is going to give us a file of about 30 megabytes, and this is the file that will download everything that is needed to actually install AutoCAD. Now I've opened a Windows Sandbox VM on my computer, which you should have if you're running Windows Professional, and I've copied the executable I downloaded from Autodesk, and now I'm going to run it. After it completes, navigate to the deployment path that we specified in Autodesk, and clicking through you'll find an Install AutoCAD batch file. I'll open this in Notepad and then copy the Install the Deployment Silently section of the code, as we will need this later. After you save this code, you can go ahead and close the sandbox. Now let's shift back into NinjaOne. We'll go to Administration, Library, and then Automations. Normally for a standalone MSI, EXE, or MSIX installer, or a DMG or PKG installer on macOS, we would just upload this as an application installer. However, this isn't a standalone installer, as it's not installing the application directly. So instead, we're going to add in a new file transfer automation, name it, and then upload the file. Make sure to note the path that you are downloading to, as we will need this later. Next, we're going to import a script which is in the GitHub linked in the description of this video. It's called Stage and Install AutoCAD.ps1. I've copied the script into NinjaOne and then created the script variables so that I can provide input to the script. Now is the time to modify the default values of the script variables, which is especially important if you've deviated from my naming conventions or file paths. We also captured the version number of the installer in the batch file that we looked at on the Windows Sandbox. Just validate the version number against what is in the script. I am not certain how much that changes over time. At this point, we're ready to actually configure the deployment to our endpoints. I'm going to go to Devices, and then I'll use the filters to determine which devices will receive AutoCAD. Now let's choose my Windows workstations, then I'll use the Software Inventory filter to locate devices that do not have AutoCAD installed, and then I'm using another filter to find devices that have the Design Team tag. Since AutoCAD is a larger application, we could also use a free drive space filter to find only machines with enough free space to accommodate the installation. Now I'm going to save the device group, then go to Administration, then Tasks, and then create a new task. I'll name it and then set my schedule. In this case, it will just run every day at noon on online devices. My automations will be my file transfer of the AutoCAD bootstrapper, followed by the Stage and Install AutoCAD script. When I add the script, again, if you've deviated from what I've done and you didn't modify the defaults earlier, you will need to enter what has changed so that the script will work. In this case, the script defaults match my settings, so I'm just leaving everything as is. Now, my targets in this case are not going to be a static organization or device selection, but instead we're going to use the group we just created, which is dynamic. And this means that any new devices that match the filters will automatically receive AutoCAD every day at noon. It's about 12:30, and you can see my automations executing on the right-hand side, and AutoCAD has been installed. All told, the whole process took about 20 minutes from start to finish, but internet bandwidth may cause the results to vary. And there you have it. There are many different ways to deploy various kinds of software through NinjaOne, and I've linked a guide in the description that goes over all the different methods that are supported. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Take care.